Good morning, or at least it's morning for me. It's Wednesday. It's new comic book day. It's 9 a.m. I only got a couple hours of sleep because I went to my local comic shop last night for their midnight release of DCKO issue 1. We did the blind bags. It was actually really worth going. Check out the video. I dropped it late last night, and today we're going to record the new comic book day reviews. I read 20 comic books in like 2 days, and as soon as I'm done with this, we're going to head out for New York Comic-Con, and I can't wait to go there, see everybody. It's going to be a blast. Before we jump into it, I guess, if you dig the videos, man, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and hit the bell so you get notifications so you don't miss a video. Let's start with what I read digitally, and we're going to start with Everything Dead and Dying, issue number 2. So I was actually really hype on this series with issue number 1, and issue 2 did not disappoint. This one is by Tate Brombill, Jacob Phillips, Pitt Martin, and Aditya Bidikar. So this is the new zombie book. The kind of premise of this is that zombies have taken over. This one guy is immune for whatever reason, and even though his family has turned, he still cares for them and he still loves them, and he kind of realizes that if he keeps them in a certain routine, like a daily routine, they kind of calm down a little bit. I mean, they're still undead, they're still zombies, but he lives with them, and he has done so for like 10 years or something, 12 years. Anyway, what happens at the end of the last issue is that other humans find him and they try to save him. So that's where we pick up on this issue. The artwork is gritty. It's what you would expect from a zombie book. It really feels to me like the next Walking Dead. And I know that's a lot to say. I felt that way after issue 1. Issue 2 solidifies it. Everything Dead and Dying, issue 2, great book. And there's going to be like a common theme on this video. There were so many books that I wanted to give pick of the week, and it was a really hard choice, which is good. That one was a pick of the week contender. Let's move over to Boom Studios. They have a new number 1 as well, Marion Hederick. I noticed that they were putting this in their solicitation, so I thought I would check it out. It's by Teenie Howard, Jaro, and Biamonte. So it has decent art in this book, but I really didn't dig this story. This kind of like witches and religion and the priest and all this stuff. It's kind of like, I don't know, this witch story. It didn't hook me. The art was okay. Didn't really like the premise or the story. I don't think I'll continue to read this. It just wasn't really interesting enough for me. Moving on to Marvel, I really was surprised with this Amazing X-Men issue 1. So I'm reading Everything X-Men Revelation. I'm going to let you know what I like, what I think is worth picking up, what I think is kind of like a skip. Amazing X-Men, I really wanted to give pick of the week. This was a great issue, man. This one is by Jed MacKay, Assar, and Wilson. So the thing about this is I wasn't even a fan of that X-Men, what was it, Overture? Revelation Overture? I didn't really like where they were going with this. The whole premise is that we're 10 years in the future. The mutant group 3K has let off a gene bomb, and it turned all the humans into mutants, and the ones that it didn't turn, it killed. So 10 years in the future, they bring Cyclops and Beast consciousness from the present into their future selves to try to help, I don't know, prevent this or stop Revelation, aka Doug Ramsey. Now, the thing with Doug Ramsey, we'll get into that probably in a later issue. Doug Ramsey is like a mix of Apocalypse and Purple Man, but I think it really works. Like, he's this mutant that can control you with the power of his words, the power of suggestion, and then he has like 3 mutant power amplifiers around him. So if it's not working, like, he's controlling Wolverine, and that's the premise of this issue. He's controlling Wolverine as his personal pit bull, and when he's having a difficult time reeling him in, he starts getting the other mutants that surround him to, you know, strengthen his powers. So I thought it was really cool. You've got Cyclops and Beast here running from this naked feral Wolverine. So here is Doug Ramsey as Revelation, and you can see him controlling Wolverine, making him sheathe his claws. But man, it was just a really great issue, and it's got me on board with this whole Revelation thing. But not all titles have been worth it, so we'll talk about that once we get to some of the other ones. You know what? Let's just do all the Revelation stuff back to back. So then you have Laura Kinney, Sabretooth, issue number 1. This is by Erica Schultz, Valentina Paniti, Rachel Rosenberg, Corey Petit, Cy Pedro Beltran, Mark Basso, and Tom Brevoort. Tom Brevoort's the editor of X. He's the Hickman over this era. And you know what? When I first read From the Ashes, I wasn't familiar with Tom Brevoort. he has been in Marvel for decades. He's been around for a long time. He is the mastermind of what's going on with the X-Men books. So this is in the Age of Revelation. You've got Laura Kinney has taken on the mantle of Sabretooth. She's kind of got an identity crisis, right? She's Wolverine and she's Sabretooth. So this story is about how she chose to side with Revelation, and she's one of his main enforcers, but she has a kid, and she doesn't feel like her human child is safe in this environment, so she meets up with her sister and her sister's man, who is Helverine, Akiro, and basically she wants them to take her child on so that he's safe. Revelation finds out. He's not too happy about it. I did think that this one was also worth the pickup, especially if you like the whole Wolverine, Sabretooth, X-23, Laura Kinney aspect of it, but I dug this one. Next one we got is Long Shots, issue number 1. Now, this is by Jonathan Hickman, along with Jerry Dugan. You've got Robinson and Nitro, and this one, I would say, is a skip. This one takes place in the Mojo-verse. What's Mojo doing during the Age of Revelation? Viewership is down. Nobody's watching, and he tries to basically start a new show. It's a very kind of meta, unnecessary tie into this Revelation thing, to be honest. What can their lawyers let them do without being copywritten? And Longshot is too big of a celebrity to do the book, so Mojo recruits this other team of people, makes them the Long Shots. I think it's a long shot that people are going to dig this book. I thought it was an unnecessary tie-in and easily skippable. Then we have World of Revelation, issue number 1, which is 3 stories in one. So you have Al Ewing, Alicio Fox, Marino, North, and Salowski. So the first one, the Al Ewing story, it was tough to get into, man. It reads almost like a novel, as you can see. It's just text on the left, art on the right. This issue or this story is the message, and you have somebody going to Araco, Mars, to deliver Apocalypse a message. And I think when it finally goes to comic book format, it actually does get pretty good. And the person delivering the message, you're like, oh, okay, so that's where this person is during the Age of Revelation. And then what happens there? The next story, terrible story. Hulkling and Wiccan. Who's reading Hulkling and Wiccan? I think they're in another story in this week too. Ah, man, I always thought they were super lame. So whatever's going on between them during the Age of Revelation, and then the last story surrounds Franklin Richards. So what happens to the mutant of the Fantastic Four? We find out what the X gene did to the rest of his family, and this is kind of like, it takes you to the end of time at the end of this issue. Fitting enough for like a character like Franklin Richards. So with that being said, I think this is another skippable one. I don't think World of Revelation is really worth the read if you're trying to keep up with what's going on in this story. And the last one is Binary, issue number 1. And this is by Stephanie Phillips, Belviso, and Rosenberg. So this was one that I was kind of like, Binary, who cares about this? I actually dug this issue. This is Carol Danvers has taken on the mantle of the Phoenix 10 years in the future. And she has created a psychic bubble around this town with a few thousand humans, keeping them safe for 10 years. And they're starting to get sick of it. They don't even believe they're in danger. There's like an uprising, and she's over here just trying to protect them. I thought it was cool. I thought the writing was really done really well. The art was cool. And for a character that I'm not really a big fan of, Carol Danvers, Binary, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, I really did like the idea that she was strong enough to pick up the mantle of the Phoenix after whatever happened to Jean Grey. I don't think we really found out yet. And what she's up to, her story is kind of interesting, whereas everything else seems a little bit familiar. Like, okay, Laura Kinney is an enforcer for Revelation, but this is totally different. She's keeping these people safe from the gene virus, from Revelation and all that. So it's pretty cool. 20 issues. I read a lot of them digitally. Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man Torn, issue number 1. This is by Peter J. Straczynski with Perez and Guru EFX. So this is kind of like a side little story that JMS is doing. It feels like a classic Spider-Man story with the writing and with the art. The art has a very classic Spidey feel. This takes place during his times in college, Empire State University. So just classic Spidey, classic villains. It almost feels like a comic book adaptation of a movie that has never been made yet. So it was pretty well done. If you're a Spider-Man fan, if you're a JMS fan, you'll probably like it. I thought it was just okay. It wouldn't be a big recommend for me, but it was cool. All right, and then we have another Imperial War tie-in. This is Imperial War, Imperial Guardians by Dan Abnett. He's joined by Jonathan Hickman, Corey Smith, Luca Maresca, and Espen G. So this one was kind of cool. This one focuses on Gamora and Darkhawk, and there was some cool Darkhawk stuff in here. Like, I've read recent Darkhawk stuff with the Raptor suit and how he's not really inside of the armor. When he transforms, he goes somewhere else, and the armor is kind of is what's there. So it's him and Gamora. They get into a team up with Carol Danvers again, but this time she's still Captain Marvel or whoever she is. It's not 10 years in the future. So this is a team up. We get a huge chunk of info here on who's actually behind all the assassinations of these 5 galactic leaders. We see the twists and turns on who originally set this up, and then when that plan was found out, what that person decided to do to keep the plan going. So it was actually pretty interesting, even though, again, a lot of Kree, Skrull, Shi'ar, I don't really like that stuff, but I did actually dig this issue, and it was a big revelation type of issue. Next up, we have a Return to Planet Hulk one-shot. This is by Greg Pak, Pagulayan, and Sotomayor. So I don't know why they did this one-shot out of nowhere. If I knew it was a one-shot, I might not have read it, but it's Return to the Planet Sakaar, and it tells a story of the Green Scar Hulk kind of being like, I don't know, a myth in this world. Like, people are starting to doubt that he's really there to protect them. They're not eating. You know, there's famine, there's starvation. But then we see that Hulk is actually still roaming the planet, and he is keeping them safe from all the predators. I don't know. It just kind of was like, it felt a little bit unnecessary. But if you loved Planet Hulk, I mean, maybe it's worth a pickup for you. I could have done without it. And then the last one from the digital Marvel books is Strange Tales, issue number 1. This is by Whitley, Underwood, and Campbell. Man, this is my pick of the week. This is the weakest book that I read. And, you know, no offense to the creative team, but it just wasn't for me. This was basically a pair of couples are playing kind of like magical Jumanji. Well, I don't know who the females are, but then it's Hulkling and Wiccan again, and then they get stuck in like the Jumanji world, so they got to get their mother, Scarlet Witch, to come save them. I wasn't digging it. This wasn't for me. I will not be continuing this series. New York Comic Con is around the corner, and after just a few years, a new Ninja Funk chapter is finally being released after the cliffhanger to the first arc. Will Ninja Funk save Bella Bay from bad music, or will things go from bad to worse in Ninja Funk Volume 2? There are a ton of amazing covers available from artists like David Mack, Alessandro Micelli, Aaron Bartling, Tyler Kirkham, Natalie Sanders, Humam Quattab, Chris Lee, Ivan Tao, Ryan Kincaid, Sajad Shah, Ali Garza, Xander, and Alex Regal, just to name a few. Make sure to check out for them over at That Spider-Man booth on Whatnot, and see you guys at New York Comic Con. All right, finally onto the physical copies. We've got Spider-Man Wolverine issue 6. This is by Mark Guggenheim, who I just looked at that X-Men omnibus with you guys. Sandoval, Nava, and Reber with the Kari Andrews cover. So I do miss Kari Andrews on the art here, but I think Sandoval, he does a great job on the interiors here. Now, first of all, Spider-Man and Wolverine, you're talking about 2 of my favorites out of my top 5. So they have this mini-series together with incredible artwork. Again, Kari was great, but Sandoval does a great job as well. This is the aftermath of the whole, did Wolverine kill Peter Parker's parents? And they get into a new kind of squimish here with Vermin, or the Vermin, I should say. Art was great. Even a hint of like Sam Keith with Wolverine here. But a touching story, cool team up, Wolverine and Peter Parker drinking at a bar, fighting these vermin, and a tough decision at the end of this issue, which is kind of like the overall theme of this run. Great book. Then we got X-Men 94, issue number 2. So once again, I picked up the regular cover and the action figure variant. And even though I'm such a big fan of Spider-Man the Animated Series, this one didn't do it for me either, man. It's got legendary writer JMD Mateus. The artist on here, you have Tao and Campbell. And it's cool to see this world that I grew up in with characters that have never been there. Like Kane is a main character, or Moreland is a main character. The problem for me is, first of all, I never liked the Moreland stuff. This has this crazy cabal of loser villains, the Kangaroo, the Gibbon. I even forget who the other guy is. And Spider-Man going up against them. Moreland coming through, kind of showing what his thing is all about, seeing Kane and the whole cloning thing being adapted into the story. My problem with this is that I feel like the art it isn't spot on to the animated series. In X-Men 97, I think they did a great job of really capturing that look in the comic book. Even like the Batman Adventure stuff or the Return to Batman Adventures, it felt like the animated series. This one kind of is a little bit like it, I think, but I don't know. I feel like the art isn't really there. This doesn't look like what you would have seen in Spider-Man, the animated series, but I'm a sucker for this stuff. I'm going to continue reading it. It's going to get good. And then we've got Eddie Brock Carnage, issue number 9 by Charles Soule with Ramirez and Arsene Yeaga. So I was getting a little bit bored of this series, but this was a really good issue. This goes back to the King in Black days, and it shows us this woman who had a symbiote during that time and how she was able to get rid of it, and how she's doing that same thing to Eddie Brock right now to get rid of Carnage. So pretty cool, man. Eddie Brock captured. He's in the kill box. This woman, like Misery style, has got him there. And is she going to kill Carnage? Is she going to get rid of the evil symbiote? Probably not, but it was pretty cool to see. And then, of course, somebody who has been tracking both Eddie Brock and Carnage shows up at the end. So that was pretty cool. All right, next up, let's look at the World to Come stuff. The Marvel Knights title with Joe Quesada, with Jimmy Palmiotti. We'll start with the World to Come issue 3, which is the Black Panther story. Wraparound cover here. Joe Quesada, Christopher Priest. And this one, it just feels like a continuation of Priest's 90s run, which I did like. T'Challa takes on his adoptive son, and then years in the future, his son challenges him, the white Black Panther, and wins. Katuma. So Katuma is the new leader of Wakanda. It brings back Agent, man, what is his name? I always forget his name. Cole Smith, Agent Ross from the original run. And how does he tie into this whole story? Pretty interesting stuff. So I did like A World to Come. As far as the Punisher, though, man, Jimmy Palmiotti and Panosian, I actually thought I was going to like this much more than I did. I actually like the Punisher Red Band issue number 1 more so than I like this one. But you have this gritty Punisher. He's got this weird kind of vest on. And there's this new drug on the street, zombie, but they call it Z. And then you have this kind of zombified protagonist, which looks like kind of like a version of Punisher, which is working for the crime bosses here. And I don't know. I just kind of thought it didn't do anything special, didn't do anything new. And I just kept on thinking about the other Punisher ongoing and how I like that one more. And that's all for Marvel. Here we have Transformers issue 25, the anniversary issue. Robert Kirkman taking over the book after Daniel Warren Johnson's tenure. There's kind of like 2 stories in here. It actually ends with how they did it in the show. I can't even think of how the theme song goes or the little music, where it breaks up this 2 stories with that kind of transitional Autobots Decepticon thing. So Dan Mora does the first story. Jorge Corona does the second one. Mike Spicer as well. And this is the aftermath of the big battle that ended in issue 24. I don't want to give any spoilers, but what do both sides come back to their respective teams? What's the pitch? What's the thing that gets them back in the game? And where do we go from here? So first of all, the artwork, incredible on both. And Robert Kirkman, I mean, man, he's one of the greats of our time. He does a great job writing this kind of Megatron's pitch to the Decepticons on why they should keep going. Very inspiring, but not really, but it's kind of funny. And then what's going on with Optimus Prime? Optimus Prime gets visited by the U.S. government. It turns out we actually have had a couple of visits from the Transformers over the last 100 years or so, and it might be people that Optimus Prime happens to know. So kind of an invitation to work with the U.S. government, to work with the humans. Humans have decided maybe these are the good guys and we need help against these bad guys. So new characters brought back into the Transformers universe. Loving this series so far. Kirkman did a great job, as we all expected. Definitely going to continue to read this. I mean, obviously. All right, on to DC. We've got Superman and the Kryptonite Spectrum issue 3, W. Maxwell Prince, along with Martin Morazzo and Chris O'Halloran. So Lex Luthor is experimenting with the different color kryptonites that he found in the last issue. At the end, Superman gets de-aged and he is now Superboy, and this is a Superboy Shazam team up, and it's kind of cute. You have the 2 kids playing with each other, Shazam as Billy and Shazam is drawing and kind of just having a conversation with Superman, all while Lex Luthor hires, I forget who even the toy maker to make this theme park a death trap and send them an invitation. It's a little bit campy, it's a little bit goofy, but if you've been digging what they have been doing with the last 2 issues, you'll like this as well. If you like Ice Cream Man, if you liked Haha, you'll dig this vibe. Kind of bugged out Superman artwork though, but it was a good read. I actually read this one. This was the last book that I read. I read it in the comic shop last night, waiting on us to hit midnight so we could bust open the blind bags. And speaking of blind bags, DCKO. So the cover A is really cool, man, because it's a acetate cover with kind of like the window of DCKO, and then this is the cover A here, and then the back still with the acetate. So this is a 4-issue comic book event. DCKO was really good. My only critique with it is that it does kind of require a little bit of prior reading. Like, I didn't even know who this timekeeper Doomsday was. It's like the skinny version of Doomsday. Here he is at the bottom. You know, so I didn't even know who that was. I'm not caught up with it, but like comic books, if you just kind of keep reading a little bit, you can piece it together. Basically, the quick... Oh, who is this by even? Let me give you the creators. Joshua Williamson, Scott Snyder, Hermancio, Javier Fernandez, Alejandro Sanchez, Hassan Oatsmain, El Howe, Marquise Draper, Paul Kaminsky. So kind of the idea of this is during the last reboot of the DC universe, Apocalypse put Omega Energy in the heart of Earth. Earth is a special place in the DC universe. It's like the antithesis to Apocalypse or vice versa. So Darkseid has become all-powerful, omnipotent. He's a literal god, like he's a deity, and he's already won. He's already destroyed the world. So this timekeeper and these forces outside of time are tapping Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and trying to figure out how to prevent this eventuality from happening. And what happens is basically the heart of the Earth, it's a little convoluted, has to choose a new champion that isn't Darkseid, and then that champion can re-image the universe the way that they see fit. So the first thing that the heroes do is say, okay, we got to figure out who this is. It's going to be a Clash of the Titans. I mean, this is like a tournament-style slugfest that DC is putting together. But the first thing that the heroes want to do is to get all the villains off the board. Make sure that they're not anywhere close to this battle. They can't enter the door to enter this tournament, because if one of them wins, we're going to be basically in the same position that we are now with a evil villain as the god. So a lot of crazy stuff happens here. Superman crafts these Dawnsbreaker knuckles, which are miniature suns that he puts on his fist, and it's this big brawl to try to get as many of the heroes through the gate, kind of to Battle World, for lack of a better term, so that they can be the ones that are competing. It's got to be one of the good guys that wins, but unfortunately, the bad guys get through as well. So that's where we kick off this first issue. Incredible artwork. Like I said, once you kind of get past the little convoluted stuff, it's just a fun thing. And yeah, I'm down for the ride. The blind bags were fun as well. I really considered it for pick of the week, but it was so obvious to me that Absolute Batman 13 is the pick of the week. And dare I say, one of, if not the best comic book series out on the shelves right now. I picked up the trade paperback to give it to my daughter. I was like, yo, you got to read Absolute Batman. It requires no prior reading. The artwork is incredible. It's by Scott Snyder, Dragata, and Martin. And we get Absolute Catwoman here. But it's not even the fact that we get Absolute Catwoman. We get Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne. And I'm such a sucker for their romance, man. I don't know. Call me a softie. The storyline, it continues. It's Abomination. Bruce Wayne has been altered by Bane and the forces that be that control him. You have the Bat-Cat stuff, which was hot and heavy. I was here for it, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was here for the hot and heavy. Bruce Wayne feels like he's got the plan on how to take down Bane, how to take down that cabal. Look at this fight. So Bruce Wayne, Batman straight Wukong style on the stand on his cape here. I thought that was super cool. Yeah, just the writing, the interactions, the relationships, they felt so real. And it's crazy in this universe that is just some alternate universe. I like how he calls her, well, her name's Selena. So what's he call her? Say? I don't know how he pronounces it. But to see him kind of going crazy and the Venom starting to take over him based on what happened during the events of the last few issues, the Red Hood gang and we find out their leader, check out Bane here, man. So basically, they're trying to get Bruce Wayne to replace Bane as the enforcer here. Arc M is the name of the organization that they're fighting. So, wow, what an incredible issue. Amazing series. If you haven't got caught up with this yet, I highly recommend Absolute Batman. Pick of the week easily. What do you guys think about this week's comic books? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're at New York Comic Con and you see me and you want to say hi, say hello. Say that you know me from the channel, because sometimes people will just kind of come up to me and just look at me and I don't know who you are. But anyway, holler at me if you see me. I'm probably going to be filming the whole time, getting a ton of footage, so maybe you want to be in the video. I plan to do a couple of different videos. Fee and I, right now, I'm going to edit this video and we're going to drive out there. We're staying with Mike and Beth. We're staying with friends. So I think I'm going to do a vlog for like you guys who are, regular watchers of the channel. And I'm also going to do some kind of stuff for the masses while I'm out there as well. So probably Artist Alley tour, New York Comic Con, full tour, maybe a cosplay video, whatever else is there while I'm out there. So I'm actually going to do this right now and head out. I'll see you guys this weekend. Thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.